Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caroline Best of the Dow Horsemanship, and we are going to be dedicating this month to Lando, our wild Mustang. And it's Gentling a Wild Mustang Part 1. So each week we'll have a different part. And this month I'm dedicating the videos to the principle or concept of choosing the path of least resistance when developing, educating, or taming a new horse. So I'll be selecting one major perspective each week, focusing on what's important to our horse's confidence as a learner and creating a positive learning process. For today's video, Training Success in 5 Minutes or Less, and our first principle, our training will focus on free will, allowing our horse to choose. It's also about how we spend our time together when the horse chooses us. Last month I created a video about what it meant to choose the path of least resistance when teaching, taming, and training horses. So here's a little review. The path of least resistance is two things, a mindset and a strategy. We need to get the right mindset when choosing this path, and we need to know how to go about it. Path of least resistance means I find a way to teach my horse that does not compromise their spirit or their natural curiosity, and most of all allows them to choose their learning experience. This means I don't force the horse to comply or submit through pressure in release tactics or the traditional training principles of making the right thing easy and the wrong thing uncomfortable. Choosing the path of least resistance doesn't always mean learning is easy for the horse either. It means I'm always seeking the path of least resistance, even in the most difficult or challenging circumstances. So learning this way of working with horses is also about feel and timing. You can't teach it, you have to find it. Meaning it is a delicate and sensitive balancing act between finding how much or how little effort is needed to help the horse we are working with understand whatever it is we're trying to teach. I'd also like to leave you with this mantra: make every moment with your horse purposeful and teachable. Thank you, and may you always be one with your horse. Hi, welcome back. Look at our little guy. Well, hi there, Lando. Sabrina and I were just talking about, how much he's changed in the last, this is our third week, and how awesome it is to see the expression change. The light in their eye, the brightness, as I call it. Not to mention the entire body softens and gets more relaxed. So, he's less and less in his self-preservation mode, less and less tight and worried. Hi, Boo. And more relaxed and ready to join up. This is just awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. You want to see what I'm going to do before I do it? That's awesome. Curiosity is the opposite of fear. But we're not 100% ready. Would you like to check it out? Sometimes you back away. You retreat. Yeah, because he becomes a little bit more. So this is called a threshold, which I've talked about often in this filming. And I always talk about, so where are his thresholds? And usually when you back off, it's easier, it gives him an opportunity to not feel the pressure of me physically, my energy field, not to mention something he's never seen before until yesterday. And I want to create curiosity. I want to create the curious mind, a relaxed mind, an open mind. So I'll approach again, and he starts to turn a little bit, so I'll retreat. You can do this with anything. How often do we not pay attention to that and we just go up to our horse and our horse runs? Even our domesticated horses out in the pasture, we don't get it. So, there's many things that contribute to a horse not wanting to be caught, a domesticated one especially. And I'm here to make this guy's every experience really positive and pleasurable for the most part, right? If I touch him, does it feel good for him? You know, what's in it for him? Whatever I do, I want it to be the best it can be for him, because that's part of what I teach when it comes to bonding. It's not just sharing space. It's not about food. It's about figuring out what your horse likes and enjoys, what he wants or she wants. This develops so much trust and confidence in you. It's unbelievable. And that is what relates or transfers to the mindset of your horse. I'm not sure about what you're going to do next, Caroline, but everything you've done has been okay, has been right by me. All right. So this could be the wormer, it could be the vet with a needle, it could be the farrier with a rasp. So you got to think outside the box. Everything that you are introducing to a young horse, a new horse, a wild horse, a scared horse, period. How are you introducing it or reintroducing it? And what are you observing in the horse? How do they show up? That's how you get to know your horse. You get to read your horse. You get to understand your horse. And I always say to all of my students when they come here to work with me, particularly, I'm like, I'm going to give you one thing to write down. And remember, every time you're working with one of my horses, and of course with your own, get to know your horse. Get to know them. We're always so what's the word I want to say, self-centered, you know, caught up in our own thoughts, and we don't take the time to be more present and aware when we come into the space of our horses and seeing where they are and how they feel. And we end up rushing things when we shouldn't. If we just take the time now, it'll take less time. Now, not all horses like their manes to be pulled like this. Trust me, I've got some girls, some mares that do not like their manes to be pulled. You got to get to know your horse. Now, I am holding it, and some of my boys really do like it. And if you'll notice, I'm taking the comb and just going sideways. I'm not really pulling down because his mane is really dry and it's still tangled. And so, you know, he does not have a very good, nutritionally, he does not have a very high nutritional, what's the word I want to say, rating. You know, he does have a decent shine to his coat, but his mane is really dry and brittle and and obviously dirty. But this is just from poor nutrition. I'm sure he's been fed the worst of the worst and living in a holding pen probably his whole life. We don't know. He could have only been in a holding pen for a year, you guys. We don't know. But he doesn't have any muscle, and they can lose all of that by being starved. But it is a fact, on average, that our wild horses, when they are captured, they can spend 10 to 15 years, their entire life, in a holding pen. Isn't that sick? And then hopefully they get adopted out. I was doing statistics, recent statistics. Well, they're a couple years old, but that's all that came up in my research yesterday. I think we have, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, 50-some thousand wild horses in holding pens. And this is from 2019, from the Bureau of Land Management, BLM. And we have 22,000 roaming free, something like that. But we only have a certain amount of acres for all these horses. Federal land. Maybe it's 40,000 with only 20-some thousand acres. It's not much. Oh, he's going sleepy. And this is part of your bonding. Like I said, if he was my personal horse, I'd be spending a lot more time out here, just being. So sweet. He's got a nice, relaxed lower lip. I don't have to do much of anything today. You know, when I see how connected he is today and how he came up and was smelling me, and you know, every day it gets easier for him to not walk away from me when I first come in. That little bit of hesitation is going away. And today I could just do everything I can at Liberty and see how far I can get, including his feet, his hooves. Just see how far I get and not put any more pressure on him than that. You could spend weeks here, you guys. Remember, if it's your horse and there's no hurry, you know, there's no hurry, except, again, we got to get his feet done. Yeah. I'll get a wormer in him. We got to get a fecal sample. We got to get the vet here. Got to get him evaluated. This comb works great, just like your fingers too. I've never been a fan. The curry combs are good when I was up north and my horses would get pretty thick coats. Definitely when you go in a circle, the curry comb really does help shed them out. But so do hair brushes, and so do combs. And again, they feel more like your fingers. And he certainly is used to that. But let's see how far I can get behind him.